Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hi peace, how are you all doing? And I hope you're enjoying your holidays. Now, this is the second last video that I'll be sharing before the end of the year, and I'm so excited. Tell you why. I know it would have been so much unfair if I did not show or tell any story about the Adolf Hitler while doing my, blogs in Germany, and this is the second last blog shot in Germany, so it's gonna be quite interesting because we're gonna talk about Adolf Hitler, the Nazi leader party, of course, a German politician who was a dictator from the 1930s until his death in 1945, and also just to tell how he rose to power as the leader of the Nazi party and used propaganda to divide and rule. And I know a lot of you really remember him for having fueled the outbreak of the World War II in the 1939 going forward, and which also had a lot of impact, not only in Europe but also in African countries. And I'm all about, telling stories of connecting to African countries, but also, just rooting into the source of the conflicts and the violence we're having. And so this is a perfect story about Adolf Hitler, told by a historian in Germany. Enjoy and feel free to leave your comments and questions in the comment section.
Story the last 40 years almost. Um, but here we are on the origins of our society and on the origins of our tours, and this is the former Nazi party rally ground. I have to explain a little bit what was the Nazi party rally, what was the Nazi party actually, and why they choose Nuremberg and why they choose the spots here. First of all, I always show a picture, a satellite picture of Nuremberg, and in the upper corner, I point out the old part of the city and also the white part here on the bottom. And you can see this is a small white spot here in the right corner. This is the old part of the city. This is 2.5 square kilometers. And here in the lower part, we have the party rally grounds, former party rally grounds. Those were 16 square kilometers. If you need other measurements, just tell me if I should tell you in miles or whatever. Otherwise, I stick to kilometers. That's okay. So you can see around 6 times larger than the whole part of the city. This area was actually used during the party rallies, and you have to understand the party rallies is when nothing like we think of when we hear party rally. We think of discussion, we think of elections, we think of speeches. The party rallies of the Nazi party were just large propaganda events, just large events with a lot of people. Nuremberg had around 400,000 inhabitants during the 30s. During the Nazi party rallies, around 500,000 participants would come to Nuremberg and another 500,000 visitors. So up to 1 million people would come to Nuremberg for the party rallies, not on one day, not on one spot, but during the whole week the Nazi party rally took place. On each day, 400,000 people for one event. So it was a really large organization, a large propaganda event, and the idea was for the Nazis, they wanted to gather as much people as possible, just to show their strength, just to show their power, just to impress the people, the participants, how many they are, how strong the organization is, but also to impress the people of Germany, how powerful the party is to organize such large events, and to impress the other countries in Europe and on the world that the Nazi party, the new German government, is strong again, and Germany is powerful again, and Germany has the power to organize such large events. You have to know there were party rallies held here in the 1920s during the Weimar Republic. This whole area here we are standing in used to be a public park. This was built in 1906 for the occasion of 100 years Nuremberg in Bavaria. You have to know Nuremberg was an exhibition hall here on the outer spot of the park, and this was for the celebration of 100 years in Nuremberg in Bavaria. And this park was used for recreational areas, obviously, but also in the 1920s a lot of huge events took place here. First of all, there were some right-wing national socialistic party rallies here. In 23, our local infamous Nazi Julius Streicher organized a so-called German Day here. 100,000 people gathered here together. Julius Streicher was a local from Nuremberg. He published a newspaper called The Stormman, Der Stürmer, and this was the most anti-Semitic newspaper you can think of. There was always ugly pictures of Jews on the front, and always stories about Jews raping German girls, Jews doing strange businesses with German politicals and all this kind of stuff. And he sold this newspaper from Nuremberg, and he tried to organize some sort of revolution in 23. So he gathered all these people here for the so-called German Day, and Hitler was also here in 23, and afterwards he decided to have party rallies of his own party here in Nuremberg, and the first party rally was actually in 1927. This was also held here in that spot, but also in the inner part of the city at the main railway station, for example, and the main market square. And in 29, also a Nazi party rally took place here in Nuremberg. And in that party rally, there were large street fights between the communists and the right wing, the National Socialist Party. They were also dead in front of the main railway station. They killed each other. So the government of Nuremberg, the mayor of Nuremberg, forbade further meetings here. But in 1933, when Hitler took power here in Germany, he changed the mayor of Nuremberg. He took a Nazi friend of him, and he became the mayor here, and he declared that he wanted to have his party rallies here in Nuremberg for all times. They always talked in this kind of whatever language. They always said 1,000 years, all times. So they always wanted to create this huge empire for 1,000 years. So he said for all times the Nazi party rallies should be held here in Nuremberg, and for that reason he ordered his architect Albert Speer to rebuild this whole area into a Nazi party rally, or into a rally ground. The idea was that for each day of the party rallies took place between 4 and 8 days, and every year it became a little bit longer. Each mass organization of the Nazi party rally should have an own day, an own occasion, an own rally ground, an own large building, and so they started rebuilding this whole area here. Let me start in the beginning. I already showed you this picture. Let me start in the beginning to explain why Nuremberg was chosen. Nuremberg was chosen first of all because there was a lot of space, open space here in the south of the town. There was no buildings here, nobody lived here, so they just could start rebuilding this whole area into a rally ground. They didn't have to buy any ground or whatever, they just could start building this area. The second reason is that Nuremberg is very central in Germany, especially if you think it's the Germany of the 30s. You could reach Nuremberg from all parts of Germany very quick and easily per train, and you needed trains to bring here the masses of people, 500,000 people. You had to bring them per train. There were not so many cars in the 30s, and so you have to imagine a lot of people had to be brought here per train. The third reason was actually that Julius Streicher and his Stürmer was here, and his organization was strong here in Nuremberg. He had a strong organization of his Nazi friends. He could easily organize large events here. You have to know Nuremberg was never, in that sense, a strong Nazi town in the sense of elections. During the elections, the Nazis were not the majority here in Nuremberg. But they had a strong organization here. They could organize large events. So that helped the Nazis to organize those party rallies. And the fourth reason is actually a mystical, historical reason. I already talked about that Nuremberg was an important town in the Middle Ages. The German emperors, they were kind of elected, and then they were elected in Aachen, and then they were crowned in Frankfurt. And after they were crowned, they had to come to Nuremberg for their so-called imperial diet. You have to know Germany was not a united large. This is the Ehrenhalle, and you can see on this spot here on the Luitpoldhain. When you look over there to the other side, you can see those silver shields standing there. This information plates. This is actually where this area was. There was a large grandstand built. This was broken down after the war. We can't really see anything about that anymore, but you have an idea. And you can see Hitler standing right here. He's standing here on a higher level, but he is in the middle of the whole crowd. So this was also a propaganda idea that he's standing in the above all people. All people are centered to him. All people look at him, but he's still not too high. He wanted to give the impression that he's still a member of the whole crowd. And on this picture, you can actually see 200,000 people standing there. 150,000 people of the SA and the SS are standing here on the field, and around 50,000 people are standing around. And what you can see, or what you can actually not see, is individual persons. The idea of the Nazis was always, you are nothing, but your people are everything. So you as an individual were nothing. You had no individual ideas or individual feelings. You should be part of a mass, you should be part in uniform. And you also have to know on those pictures, you always have propaganda pictures. They took a large effort to get perfect pictures. They look for every detail, that every uniform is perfect. Everybody is standing in the right spot. So they took a couple of pictures until they get the perfect picture. We can roll up that again, and I will show you how this ritual was taken here. Because see here, Hitler, that was right over there where the plates are. He would stand there, and the next thing would be that they open up the space for him, and he would walk over together with the head of the SA and the SS. Over here in the front of that hall, there would have been a flag standing here, and that was the so-called blood flag. So that was kind of a ritual thing for the Nazis. The blood flag was a swastika flag they had with them in Munich when they were shooten down by the police, and the idea was that there was blood of the fallen on that blood flag. So they kind of honored it like a religious symbol. They had it here in front of that touch with the blood flag, every new flag of every new unit. So that was kind of a religious idea of the Nazis. Propaganda shows. Let me just ask you one question. Do you think women were allowed here? Or took part in the propaganda shows? No, I have no. In reality, no. There was only one occasion in 1938 when women took actively part in the show, and they had.
And so guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking, subscribing and commenting on this video if you haven't yet. please do so. Click, comment, and subscribe. Also, share with your friends. So, walking in the street in Nuremberg, I met these young people who were shooting TikTok videos and they were just doing so amazingly good. And I just want to share this and also leave you to enjoy. Please, if you haven't subscribed, do so, and see you in the next video. Bye.